Hello and welcome to another third grade instructional activity video for social studies. My name is Jennifer Zumberis. I'm with you today on behalf of the Georgia Department of Education Social Studies team. You see my email is on the screen, as well as how to get connected to our 3-5 PLC and community, and also our 3-5 Facebook community. Today, our topic is Be Inspired, and we're going to be taking a tour of third grade in Georgia Inspire. As we are going through the video today, I want you to be thinking about something that you love, something that you want to try, and something that you want to know more about. Again, something you love, something you want to try, and something you want to know more about. Let's go ahead and jump right into Georgia Inspire. When you first sign on, you're going to see these 5 tabs here at the top. Right now, we're on the Home tab. This is where you go to the bottom to sign in. If you're not signed in, you're not going to have access to all of the resources. So make sure you get signed in. You also can sign in through your district's SLDS. This tab that you see here is your whiteboard. That's where all of your courses are located. Right here, you have your resource repository. It has lots of resources that go along with each content area. If I click here on social studies, you'll see extra guidance tools that I can use throughout the course. You also can go here to the content collections. Again, the content collections, you need to be signed in to access the full capabilities of that resource. And then lastly, you see all of the standards. That's for every single content area. So for today, we're going to be looking specifically at social studies in third grade. A couple of extra things here. I can search by grade, I can search by subject, and I can also search by course title. So looking at social studies, before we even go into third grade, I want to show you this tab here, the social studies supports. As you look at this tab, these are lots of topics that will help support instruction in your classroom. You see here the English learner support and the students with disability support. When you click view, it's going to drop down a variety of tools and graphic organizers, all different kinds of supports to help your lessons be accessible to all students. The next tab that you see there is STEM STEAM. That's got STEM STEAM resources, organizers, lessons. Next, you see virtual field trips and VR tours. Those are there for you as well. The statewide organizations are all of our resources and supports that come from stakeholders that also support your instruction. Next, you see historic dates and holidays. This is information specific to holidays as they come up throughout your year. Maps and geography is new. That's all kind of GIS resources, maps, geography, everything that you could possibly need. It's broken down by grade band. So there's a K-5 section, a 6-8 section, and a 9-12 section. Lastly, our newest bubble is teacher leaders. It was created to support kindergarten through 5th grade teacher leaders. And then there's another tab for 6th through 12th grade teacher leaders. That's a great resource for you as well. All right, let's go in and check out third grade. So here I'm going to click social studies third grade. If for some reason you don't see this, you might need to just make sure you've clicked the elementary school tab. Then you're going to go to social studies third grade. You can see here when you get in at the top, it has all of your search items. If you want to look for a specific lesson or specific content or keyword, you can search there. CourseWide Resources has moved. It used to be a tab up here at the top. Now it's its own tab. If you click View, many of the things that you may be looking for that you can't find are here in the CourseWide Resources. All of those great things from georgiastandards.org. Your connecting themes, enduring understandings. We've got layered GIS maps, your third grade curriculum map, the tiny video playlist, as well as the instructional activity video playlist. That's all of those virtual specialist videos there with that tab. The next thing you see is the third grade teacher notes. Those are new and revised this year. And then the last thing that you see there are your third grade social studies GSE standards. If you look here right now, I'm in tile view. You see I've got the little bubbles. I can also change it over to list view. And you can see here it says on the side whether it's a hyperlink, a PDF, a video, all of those are there for you as well. For the sake of today's lesson, I want us to dive right in. We're going to look at Unit 5. I think that may be where you could possibly be for this time of year. As you go into the Unit 5, you have the focus of that unit. Then up here at the top, you see the resources. Those are all of the lesson plans or the resources that support the activities. You see the standard connections there. Again, I can look in tile view or I can look in list view. I like tile view best. Some of my colleagues prefer the list view. It's up to you, totally a personal preference. Right now, I want us to take a look at this lesson here, Activity 2, A Human Timeline of the Colonial Period. So as we go in, we're going to click on that box, and it's going to take us directly to the learning plan. It also has the standards that the lesson teaches. So as we're going through, we know that students do not need to memorize a bunch of dates. That's not what we're asking them to do here. We're thinking more of a sequential order of events. So as we go through, we're going to give each student or each group of students a card that has the event or the specific date related to the time. You could do it on an index card, a piece of construction paper, a sentence strip, whatever you want to do. You're going to give them to students or to pairs of students, however your classroom lines up the best. And you're going to ask them to put these events in order. So as they do that, you want to have them make sure they're sharing their reasoning. The power from this lesson doesn't come in the accuracy of the timeline. It comes in from them sharing and justifying their thinking. It's a great pre-assessment or formative assessment as you're going through working your way throughout the unit. Going through, as you're having your students line up the timeline, you maybe would consider on the back putting something so they would know if they had everything in order correctly when they were finished. I would recommend spelling out a sentence or a phrase, because if you go through and do numbers on the back, we know the kids can be kind of sneaky and figure out what those numbers mean. But if you have them spelling a sentence or have them spelling phrases, they're less likely to be able to figure it out by looking at the back of the card. So just a little teacher hack there that you may want to include. Also, after they've done the timeline, after they've put it in order, after they've given their reasoning, I agree this goes here because, or I disagree, this does not go here because, you could go through and have them illustrate their card that you gave them for the timeline. And then when they're finished, you have a full visual timeline to represent the colonial period. So that's a great way for students to be engaged. I also love that the students are up and moving. You could have them physically move themselves to make the timeline an accurate representation. This is great to get students out of their desk and also to share what they know. Down here at the bottom, you see these little bubbles here that give you additional things to do with the lesson. You can print it, you can copy it. You also can copy the link and share the link. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute when you actually have a sign in to the platform. Right now, I'm not signed in, so I don't have all of the options available. Another lesson that I thought you might like related to vocabulary, this lesson 9. Again, there's the lesson plan, the lesson resources that they may need, and then the standards that go along with that lesson. Clicking on the lesson plan, students are talking about the vocabulary terms within the unit, and they're going to sort the vocabulary terms into one of these things. One of the great things about Inspire is that every single thing you need to teach the lesson is there. So you can see here the PDF to download the lesson resources there. You also can find it here under lesson resources. Either way, same thing. I'm going to click the PDF. It's going to open up for me. You see I have all of these vocabulary terms, and I'm going to have students move the term to the correct category. Something to eat, something to wear, a type of tool, or a type of job. One way that you could do that is to have students do this independently where they're actually writing in these words. You also could have these words written out on sentence strips or on index cards. You could make a huge representation of this on the floor, or again, you could even do Post-it notes and have it on a chart tablet, and students come up and physically put the card or the Post-it note into the correct category. Again, that justifying their thinking is such an important step. You could have them do this in partnerships. You could have them do it as a table group or a whole group, and then use this sheet later as a recording sheet. But think about ways you can get your students up and moving. How would you make changes to this lesson to make it a just right lesson for your students? Before we leave today, I want to show you what this looks like if I'm signed in. I'm going to go back here to the home tab and sign in. The reason I didn't do this from the beginning is because my screen looks a little bit different than yours because I am DOE staff. Yours is not going to look exactly the same as mine. I'm going to go to courses. Again, I'm going to go to third grade. You see there's a favorites collection here. You can go in and favorite your favorite content areas or favorite your grade levels. That's what it looks like when you do that. And then let's back up a second and look at that third grade lesson again. I'm going to go to third grade. And then I want you to pay attention to the differences that we can see now when we go in and look at these. I have the 3 dots here. I can go through and add this to favorites. If I wanted to add third grade, all I have to do is click here, add to my favorites, and now it's in my favorites that we looked at earlier. You also can see you can take this content from the collection and you can share it here for other users, like maybe your teammates, or if you're an instructional coach, your teachers, you can go through and share the content with them as well. Looking at Unit 5, let's go back to the lessons that we just looked at. If I go down here to Activity 2, you see these 3 dots here. I can click these 3 dots and then it gives me all of these options. I'd only had these gray options last time. Now I can share the lesson with other educators. I can copy it into my resource library, or I can actually edit the lesson. So those are things that you can go back and do. But remember, you can only have access to those features if you're signed in.
Thank you for watching this Georgia Department of Education virtual specialist video. We hope to see you soon.